The pain started 6 weeks before Thanksgiving. A dull ache in my upper abdomen, just below my ribs. Nothing dramatic. Nothing that stopped me in my tracks. Just a persistent discomfort that felt like I'd eaten something wrong. I took antacids. I blamed stress. I moved on. I'm 42. I work in marketing. I have a husband, 2 teenagers, and a mother who still hosts every family holiday. I'm used to pushing through discomfort, headaches, fatigue, the general exhaustion of being a woman in her 40s, juggling everything. This felt like more of the same, so I ignored it. The pain would come in waves. Morning coffee sometimes triggered it. Rich foods made it worse. But it was manageable. I'd press my hand against my ribs, take a breath, and wait for it to pass. It always passed, until it didn't. By early November, the pain was happening daily. Still dull, still tolerable, but more persistent. I'd be in meetings and feel it building, a pressure that made me shift in my seat. I'd be driving and have to adjust my seatbelt because it pressed against the wrong spot. I'd be lying in bed and couldn't find a comfortable position. My husband asked if I was okay. I said yes, just indigestion, just stress, just the usual chaos of work and family and life. He believed me because I've always been fine, because I don't complain, because I handle things. But I wasn't handling this. I started changing what I ate. No coffee, no dairy, no fried foods, smaller portions, earlier dinners. I bought expensive probiotics and digestive enzymes. I read articles about gut health and inflammation. I did everything except the one thing I should have done. I didn't see a doctor. I told myself I was too busy, that it would resolve on its own, that doctors would just tell me to lose weight and reduce stress, neither of which I had time for. I told myself a lot of things to avoid admitting I was scared, because deep down, I knew this wasn't normal indigestion. Thanksgiving was at my mother's house, like always. My sister was flying in from Denver. My brother and his wife were bringing their new baby. It was going to be the whole family, 15 people around the dining table, the kind of chaos that usually exhausts me, but that I'd been looking forward to. The morning of Thanksgiving, I woke up with the pain already there. Sharp this time, insistent. I took 3 Tums and got in the shower, hoping the hot water would help. It didn't. I stood in my closet trying to find something that wouldn't press against my ribs. Everything felt too tight. I settled on a loose sweater dress and told myself I'd be fine. It was just one day. I could manage one day. The drive to my mother's house was 40 minutes. I spent the entire time with my hand pressed against my side, breathing carefully, willing the pain to settle. My husband was talking about something, work, maybe, or the kids, but I couldn't focus. I just kept thinking, get through dinner, smile, be present, deal with this, tomorrow. We arrived at noon. The house smelled like turkey and cinnamon. My mother hugged me at the door, her hands on my shoulders, asking why I looked tired. I said I hadn't slept well. She nodded knowingly and launched into a story about her own insomnia. I let her talk. It was easier than explaining. The house was loud, kids running, adults laughing, football on TV. My sister showed me photos from her trip to Sedona. My brother's baby cried and everyone took turns holding him. It was warm and chaotic and exactly what Thanksgiving should be. But I couldn't be present. The pain was getting worse. It felt like something was pressing against my insides, sharp and hot. I excused myself to the bathroom twice in the first hour, leaning against the sink, breathing through the waves. Each time, I looked at myself in the mirror and told myself to pull it together. Just a few more hours. You can do this. Dinner was at 3. We gathered around the table, my mother at the head, everyone else finding their usual spots. I ended up between my husband and my sister. The table was beautiful, flowers, candles, my mother's good china. She'd made everything from scratch like she does every year. Turkey, stuffing, sweet potatoes, green beans, cranberry sauce, 3 kinds of pie. My stomach turned looking at it. Everyone held hands for grace. My mother said a prayer about gratitude and family and blessings. I kept my eyes closed and focused on breathing. The pain was constant now, a burning pressure that made it hard to think about anything else. Plates were passed. Everyone started serving themselves, piling food high, talking and laughing. I took small portions, a spoonful of stuffing, a slice of turkey, some green beans. My sister asked if I was on a diet. I said I'd had a big breakfast. She shrugged and kept talking. I cut my turkey into tiny pieces. I pushed food around my plate. I took small bites and chewed slowly, trying to look normal, while my body screamed at me to stop. The pain was getting sharper. Every swallow made it worse. I could feel sweat starting to form at my hairline. My mother noticed. She always notices. She asked across the table if I was feeling all right. I said yes, just warm. She suggested I take off my sweater. I said I was fine. She looked at me the way mothers do when they know you're lying but don't want to make a scene. I made it through 20 minutes of dinner. Small bites, forced smiles, nodding at conversations I wasn't really hearing. My brother was telling a story about the baby's first pediatrician visit. My sister was arguing with her husband about something political. My husband's hand was on my knee under the table, steady and warm. And then the pain changed. It went from sharp to stabbing, from constant to overwhelming, like something inside me was tearing. I gasped. I couldn't help it. The sound cut through the conversation. Everyone stopped talking. My husband's hand tightened on my knee. My mother leaned forward. Sister put down her fork. 15 pairs of eyes were suddenly on me. I tried to say I was fine, but the word caught in my throat. The pain was radiating now, spreading across my abdomen, up into my chest. I couldn't breathe properly. I pressed both hands against my ribs and doubled over slightly. Someone asked what was wrong. I don't know who. The voices blurred together. I said I didn't know. My voice sounded strange, tight, scared. My husband was standing. His chair scraped against the floor. He was asking me questions. Where does it hurt? How long? Have you eaten something bad? But I couldn't form answers. I just kept pressing my hands against my side, trying to contain something that felt like it was exploding inside me. My mother said we should call an ambulance. I said no. Too fast, too dramatic. I just needed to lie down. It would pass. It always passed, but it wasn't passing. My brother-in-law, who's a nurse, came around the table. He asked if he could check my abdomen. I nodded. His hands were gentle, but every touch made me flinch. He pressed different areas, watching my face. He asked about my pain scale. I said 8, maybe 9. He looked at my husband and said we should go to the ER. I started crying. Not from the pain, though that was unbearable, but from embarrassment, from shame, from the fact that I'd ruined Thanksgiving, that everyone was staring at me, that I'd hidden this for weeks and now it was erupting in front of my entire family. My sister held my hand. My mother was already getting my coat. My husband was pulling the car around. Everyone moved with purpose while I sat there, bent over, wondering how I'd let it get this bad. The ER was crowded. Thanksgiving always is. But the triage nurse took one look at me and fast-tracked us through. They did blood work, an ultrasound, a CT scan. I lay on a hospital bed in a curtained-off room while my husband sat in a plastic chair, holding my hand, not saying anything because there was nothing to say. The doctor came in 2 hours later. Gallbladder, inflamed, possibly infected, full of stones. She said I'd probably been having symptoms for a while. She asked why I hadn't come in sooner. I didn't have a good answer. Because I was scared. Because I was busy. Because I thought I could handle it. Because admitting something was wrong felt like failing. She said I needed surgery. Not immediately, but soon. Within the week. She prescribed antibiotics and pain medication and scheduled me for a follow-up. She said I was lucky I came in when I did. That gallbladders can rupture. That ignoring severe pain is dangerous. I knew all of that. Intellectually, I knew. But knowing and acting are different things. They discharged me after midnight. My husband drove me home in silence. Not angry silence. Just the quiet of two people processing something that should have been prevented. The next day, my mother called, then my sister, then my brother, all asking the same questions. Why didn't you tell us? How long has this been happening? Why did you wait? I didn't have answers that satisfied them, or me. I had surgery the following Tuesday, laparoscopic cholecystectomy. Routine procedure. They removed my gallbladder through 3 small incisions. I was home the same day. Recovery took 2 weeks. The physical healing was straightforward. The emotional healing took longer because I had to confront why I'd hidden it, why I'd convinced myself it wasn't serious, why I'd prioritized everyone else's comfort over my own health. Why the thought of asking for help felt more terrifying than enduring weeks of pain. I think it's because I've spent my whole life being the capable one, the one who handles things, the one who doesn't complain. And somewhere along the way, I started believing that needing help meant I was weak, that admitting pain meant I was failing. But I learned, lying in that hospital bed, that the opposite is true, that ignoring pain doesn't make you strong, that hiding suffering doesn't protect the people you love, that waiting until you collapse at a family dinner isn't brave, it's just dangerous. My mother visits more now, she asks more questions, she watches me more carefully. My sister calls every few days just to check in. My husband makes doctor's appointments for me and drives me there because he doesn't trust me to go alone. And I let them, because I'm learning that accepting care isn't weakness, it's wisdom. I think about that Thanksgiving sometimes, the moment the pain became too much to hide, the way everyone's faces changed when they realized I wasn't okay. The ambulance my mother wanted to call. The way my brother-in-law's hands felt checking my abdomen. It was humiliating, terrifying, the worst possible way to admit I needed help, but it probably saved my life. Because if I'd kept hiding it, if I'd kept pushing through, my gallbladder might have ruptured. And then, the pain wouldn't have hit me during a family dinner. It would have hit me alone, at home, with no one there to help. I'm grateful now for the pain that forced me to stop pretending, for the family who refused to let me minimize it, for the doctor who told me I was lucky, for the surgery that fixed what I'd been trying to ignore. I don't ignore pain anymore. Not physical pain, not emotional pain. When something hurts, I say it hurts. When I need help, I ask for it. When my body tells me something is wrong, I listen. Because I learned the hardest way possible that silence doesn't protect you. It just lets the pain grow until you can't contain it anymore. Pain grows in silence until you finally tell the truth.